process I follow to tell a story or to help someone to figure out how to tell a story goes more or less like this. Someone tells me, okay, well, this thing happened, and then I'll ask them, okay, just tell me what happened, and they'll go through it it'll take them a few minutes and they'll explain to me what happened. Then we'll talk about what's the point of that story. Okay, so sometimes there's more than one, but how do you think you could use that story? What's the lesson? How did that story change you or change the characters? And then we'll talk about it and say, okay, well, this one is very strong, this point. These other ones maybe not so strong. Let's choose one. Then you choose one point in the story. Then you make sure that the only things in the story are the things that are needed to get to that point, to get to the end of the story. And then you start figuring out things like dialogue. Is there any dialogue that we can have in the story? Instead of you telling us that you talk to your friends, can you actually talk to your friends? What is the best way to start the story? Because usually you want to start with, tell people where you are so they can kind of have an image in their heads, and just some type of action or movement. So you're in like movies. Movies usually start with a camera. Either the character's doing something or it's a camera over the water getting into the city because they want movement. So you wanna start a story where you are talking to someone, you're answering the phone, you're opening a door, you're getting in the car, right? So that's just a way to start the story. And then there are lots of other things that you can tweak. Like, for example, I would always say to people, we need to understand why you care about whatever problem you have in the story. So just give us one line that says why that was important to you. What was the big issue that you're gonna have if this particular thing didn't happen? So that is usually important. And you talk about emotion. I always tell people that they should say how they're tell people how they're feeling. Right? Just say, I was so angry with that because, or I was really sad. I really love that dog. Whatever, right? So you don't always need to verbalize the emotion. If you're telling a story on video, sometimes your face is gonna do that job, but the emotion is one of the most relatable things you have. Because if you're watching a movie about, I don't know, like the Martian, right? The guy that gets lost in Mars and is trying to survive. Like, you're not an astronaut. You haven't been stranded in a different planet before. So none of that stuff is relatable to you, but you might have felt lost and you might have felt stuck somewhere and you didn't know how to get out. So when you express those things in the story, or you make them obvious in your story, other people go, oh yeah, there was that time I was that job and I couldn't quit because I had this was a really, so it's not Mars, but you can relate to it, and that's all made easier if you're telling people what you're feeling throughout the story, because we're not actors, so it's not always going to be obvious in our face.